Hey, everybody. I'm Rebecca from Thieving Otter Farm,
And I'm Leo with Southern Biophiliac Urban Farm.
and we are two Chix Coturnix, bringing you the scoop
Not the poop.
on Coturnix Quail. So, tonight we are going to give you another 2 cents with two chicks, and we're going to talk about why Coturnix Quail. Um, Leah, how did you get started in Coturnix Quail? What was it for you that got you interested?
Well, at the time we were living in just a regular urban neighborhood, and I wanted a way to raise meat that was allowed. So, because we weren't allowed to have chickens or any other types of animals. So, I did a lot of research and found out there was no regulations against quail.
And that's a very common reason why a lot of people get into Coturnix quail is you can a lot of times have them in places that have regulations against chickens and other poultry, just, like your situation. I know a lot of HOAs don't have any regulations about Coturnix quail, and, a lot of city ordinances that normally wouldn't let you have chickens would let you have quail. So yeah, that's definitely a good reason to get into them.
Right. And then it was like I wanted a way not only to produce eggs, but produce meat and produce it fast.
Definitely. And fast is the key word here. These
Yes.
guys, if you are not familiar with quail, they are super speedy growers. So you can, first of all, you can incubate an egg and have it hatch out in 17 to 18 days, which is quite a bit faster than a lot of other poultry. And then you can have a chick go from hatching out of that egg to laying an egg in 6 to 8 weeks. That's
Super
pretty crazy.
speed.
When with chickens, you're waiting 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, it's a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah. So the how fast they grow is very helpful, especially if you are wanting to put food on the table. That's, a big reason why people raise quail is they want those eggs or they want the meat. And, again, if you're raising chickens and having to feed them for 6 to 8 months before they're laying,
It's a long time and a lot of investment before you're getting something back.
yes, those eggs get really expensive by the time you actually start eating them. But quail, boy, they're popping out those eggs pretty fast.
Super fast. And the
So
eggs are really, really healthy.
yes, yeah, they are. Do, you're probably a little bit more familiar with the health benefits and stuff of quail eggs than I am, since I actually, oddly enough, am allergic to quail eggs, so I don't eat them. But what can you tell us about that?
They actually have more nutrients by volume than a chicken egg does.
That's pretty awesome.
They're super low in calories, roughly around 13 calories per egg. And usually 3 eggs will count for a chicken egg.
Awesome. Um, so one of the things that I really like about quail is how many you can keep in a small amount of space. So again, if you are living on a small piece of property, if you are in the city limits or in an HOA or just don't have a big farm, they're easy to keep in a small footprint and not take up too much space.
That's another reason why we had gotten started in it too, because we didn't want a bunch of space taken up. We just didn't have it at the time.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's changed now. But yeah, space was huge.
And while we're on the subject of space, let's talk really quickly about like, okay, stocking density, like how many birds you would keep in a certain amount of space. So how many birds per square foot do you recommend?
Usually about 3.
Hmm. Yep. So again, that's 3 birds per square foot versus wow, how much space do chickens need?
Actually, like I forget, I had looked it up once, and for the space requirements for one chicken, you could fit 30 quail.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, yeah.
So
So 1 egg versus 30 eggs. That's a big difference.
Exactly. All right. So in your area where you lived, where you weren't allowed to have chickens and stuff like that, um, how about noise? Were you able to hide those quail pretty easily? Did your
Nobody ever
neighbors know they
said
were there?
anything about them. Yes, I mean, the boys would get a little noisy in the, morning for about 10 minutes and then again right before bed, but they sound like wild birds, so
Exactly. Everybody knows what a chicken rooster sounds like.
yes.
But
Yes.
a Coturnix, like you said, sounds kind of like a wild bird and nobody knows.
And there's some
The
of them I swear I'm like, "Was that a frog?" And it was them.
or crickets, they can make like that
Yes.
crickety sound
Yep.
too. Yeah, so they're not really loud. They're not going to disturb your neighbors. I think that's a great thing to think about as well.
Definitely. Plus there's so much fun with all the colors and all the genetics that are out there.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to play with that, that's a big rabbit hole. It's so much fun.
That was actually what got me into Coturnix quail. Well, I got into them by accident. I had a friend that was getting out of quail and she gave some to me and they were just like the normal pharaoh color, just regular. And when I found out they came in different colors and patterns, and there's actually like 170,000 different
So many.
combinations. Oh my goodness. Like I had this life's mission to have them all. So
Yeah, the self-sufficiency thing for us was like where it started, but then when I found out about all the colors,
yeah.
I was hooked.
It's so much fun. You can really, I mean, like if you are somebody that is a genetics nerd or anything like that, you could have a lot of fun, especially since they do reproduce so fast. You can have like 4 generations in a year. Whereas like with my chickens, gosh, they're not even fully mature for 2 years with my large
Right.
fowl.
Right. It's so
Or
quick. It's so much fun.
yeah, my emus, they don't even start laying eggs until their second year. So although I don't think a lot of people are going to be keeping emus in an HOA, but
Right. Someone might notice them over the fence.
what about, okay, so I know that you are really big into gardening. Um,
Yes.
how is quail manure for compost?
So it's actually an excellent compost, but it is a hot compost, so it has to be composted properly.
Okay.
Um, they're also great for. Hold on a second. Okay, let me start that part over.
Okay.
Um, they're getting like really loud. So, where was I? Compost. Um,
You want me to ask the question again? We can just start over.
sounds good.
Okay, so I know that you are big into gardening. So how about quail manure for compost? Do you use it for composting in your gardens?
Yes, it's actually an excellent compost. It is a hot compost, so it does have to get broken down before you use it because it's so high in nitrogen. So you do have to break it down, but that manure can also be used to grow soldier flies, which is an excellent treat for your birds. You don't want to overdo it though, but it is an excellent treat. The eggshells can also be used in the garden, along with a lot of other parts of the quail.
Oh yeah, all that calcium and stuff is good.
Yeah.
What about you mentioned before meat. How long does it take for your birds to get up to a size that is good enough for harvesting?
So usually we harvest right about 10 weeks of age. That's
Yeah.
usually when they're at their like prime growth period. And actually, a cool thing I found out about their meat is they are actually the highest per gram of any type of poultry for protein.
Wow. I know that there's a lot of people that also use it for pet food.
Yes.
The both the eggs and the meat. I know a lot of people like do raw feeding for their dogs and stuff. And I've heard that, as far as nutrition wise, it's really good for that as well.
Oh, definitely. And there's people who raise reptiles and people who are falconers that use them as well for that.
I definitely do. I've got a couple of snakes, and they love, yeah, they get my extra quail chicks. So any of the ones that are culls that aren't going to be, good enough for to keep, they take care of those for me. I think one other thing to bring up that is kind of interesting is that quail are often resistant to diseases that other poultry can fall victim to. A good example is Marek's disease. Quail can get Marek's, but they usually don't have any symptoms or anything, whereas it's a big problem in chickens.
Oh, it definitely. They can get really sick.
Yeah. So, boy, I really can't think of a better option for a farmer, homesteader, somebody, that's wanting a little
Right.
self-sufficiency. I mean, they really check all the boxes, don't they?
Oh, they fill a lot of niches for sure.
Awesome. Do
I
we
think
have
that's
anything
all I
else?
have. I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I was looking at it, I was like, I think we covered it
I
all.
think we covered it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe.
Have a great night.
Good night.